I am going to tell you a story of a girl, as she shared it with me herself. She told me about her life, her pain, and everything she went through, and this is her story as she experienced it. My name is Emma Carter, I am 28 years old, and 13 years ago my entire life changed in one night when I was just 15 years old and my father looked at me during a heavy storm and told me to leave the house, saying, "Get out, I don't need a sick daughter like you," because my younger sister Madison had told a carefully planned lie about me that my parents believed without even asking for my side of the story. And in that moment I was completely erased from my own home and walked out into a dangerous storm with nowhere to go, no support, and no one who believed me, until only a few hours later I was hit by a car while trying to find shelter, and I still remember waking up in a hospital where a woman named Dr. Eleanor Smith, a respected university professor, was sitting beside me holding my hand and refusing to leave my side even when my parents arrived and treated me like I was a problem they wanted to forget, and as I grew up I realized that my life had always been like that because everything in my family revolved around Madison, who always received attention, care, and protection while I was expected to stay quiet, accept unfairness, and disappear into the background even when I achieved things like winning science fairs or getting top grades because none of my success mattered compared to her emotions, and over time I stopped sharing anything. Because I learned I would never be heard or believed, and as we grew older Madison began lying about small things at first, blaming me for missing items or problems at home, and every time my parents believed her without question, punishing me and calling me dishonest even when I told the truth, until I stopped defending myself because it became clear that my voice meant nothing in that house. And everything completely broke when Madison became jealous over a boy named Jake from my school and created a full plan of lies including fake messages, false accusations, and even injuries she blamed on me, and even though I tried desperately to explain that I had done nothing wrong, my parents once again believed her completely and my father finally decided I was sick and ordered me to leave the house in the middle of a storm, and I remember walking alone in heavy rain, cold, terrified, and exhausted, trying to find somewhere safe until a car suddenly hit me and everything went dark, and when I woke up in the hospital Dr. Eleanor Smith was still there, and she told me she would not leave me alone and later offered me a place to stay, and that was the first time in my life I felt safe, believed, and valued, and living with her completely changed me because she gave me stability, education, and emotional support, and I focused on rebuilding my life step by step until I created a scholarship program called Second Chances, to help students who had been rejected or abandoned by their families just like I was, and years later I became successful in my career and was invited to speak as a keynote speaker at a university graduation ceremony without knowing that my sister Madison was graduating there or that my parents would be in the audience, and when I stepped onto that stage and began speaking about rejection, pain, and rebuilding life after being abandoned, I slowly revealed my story about a 15-year-old girl thrown out by her family and nearly dying in a storm. And as I spoke I saw shock spread across the audience and realization hit my parents, until I finally said clearly that the girl I was talking about was me, and the entire hall went silent as my father froze, my mother started crying, and Madison looked completely broken as she finally understood the consequences of her lie and the life it destroyed, but I did not seek revenge or anger, I simply spoke the truth and stepped away from the podium. And after the ceremony my parents came to me apologizing and begging for forgiveness and Madison also cried and admitted everything she had done, but I told them calmly that I forgave them for my own peace but I could not return to a life where I was erased and replaced, because trust once broken like that cannot be repaired with words alone, and I walked away from them and chose to continue my life with Dr. Eleanor Smith, the woman who became my real mother not by blood but by choice, consistency, and unconditional support, and today I live a meaningful life dedicated to helping others who have gone through similar pain, and I have learned that real family is not defined by blood but by who stays, who believes you, and who stands with you when everyone else turns away, and the biggest lesson from my life is that even when people reject you, label you, or misunderstand you, that is not your ending. Because you still have the power to rebuild, to grow, and to become stronger than what tried to break you, and in real life we must remember that we should never judge someone without hearing the truth, never ignore someone's voice just because another story sounds louder, and never underestimate the damage caused by false accusations or blind trust, because sometimes one wrong belief can destroy an entire life, but at the same time one right person believing in you can rebuild it completely, and that is why I say your past does not define you, your pain does not limit you, your rejection is not your identity, and your worth is never decided by those who fail to see it, because you are always capable of starting again, and the people who truly matter are not the ones who leave you in your worst moment, but the ones who help you rise from it and never let you fall alone again. And life always teaches one final truth, that sometimes losing people is not the end but the beginning of finding yourself, and when everything is taken away from you, what remains is your strength, your growth, and your ability to rebuild a life that no longer depends on anyone's approval except your own. This is a fictional story and has no connection to real life or any real person. Moral lesson: never judge someone without hearing their side of the story, because one false belief can destroy a life. True healing comes from forgiveness, but real trust takes time to rebuild. Always value truth, understanding, and those who stand by you in your hardest moments.